Desperate to save his sick sister, a man overcomes death and does not mind going up against an army of zombies to keep her safe. The story unfolds with a man named Liu Feng taking his scooter as he goes for his daily deliveries. While doing so, he is talking to his sister on the phone, but he is suddenly hit by a truck and he falls to the ground. While injured badly, Liu Feng lays on the ground and begins to wonder if he is going to die so soon, as no one would take care of his sister because he had taken a loan for his sister's surgery. Then he suddenly starts to become unconscious, and a few minutes later, he wakes up and begins to feel a lady's lap. Then as he wakes up, he sees a lady and the lady tells him to be calm as he was involved in an accident, but she has already called an ambulance. He then tells her his name and that he is working as a delivery man for Bai Lo Food. Then the lady tells him that it is her place of work too, and she also introduces herself as Kai Lai, as she is the chairman of the company. Then Liu Feng immediately tells her that he has to call his sister, but when he checks his phone, it displays that he would die in 3 minutes, but he can absorb an energy in order to restore his life, and Liu Feng becomes surprised. But when he looks at Kai Lai, she is still talking to someone on her phone. Liu Feng then drags himself to where a car is, but as he touches the car, he immediately gets strong. Then he takes his scooter and runs away as he tells himself that he cannot afford the money for health services. But Kai Li turns back to tell Liu Feng that the ambulance is coming. She notices that he is gone. As Liu Feng takes his spoiled scooter, he begins to think about the app that had been on his phone since he bought it, and how the app had saved his life by telling him how to absorb energy from a car. Then Liu Feng suddenly receives a call, and as he receives it, he notices that it is his girlfriend Shen King, and she begins to yell at him for not calling her, and Liu Feng tells her that he is going to check his sister in the hospital, but she yells at him for not buying her designer stuff but taking loan for the health of his younger sister. Shen King also tells Liu Feng that she is breaking up with him because he is a poor man, and after talking to Shen King, Liu Feng begins to think of how he would use the app on his phone to make money and become a better man, but his phone suddenly rings, and as he picks it, his younger sister Xintong tells him that he should come and help her because there are many strange people in the hospital and she is already hiding from them. Liu Feng immediately begins to panic, and he also sees that his scooter is in bad condition. Then the system tells him that he should absorb energy from a car so that he would use it to repair his scooter, and Liu Feng goes to a black car he sees close to him, and as he drains the car energy, he does not know that his girlfriend and a man is in the car. Then he uses the energy of the car to upgrade his scooter, and it makes it work faster. Soon Liu Feng arrives at the hospital, but he suddenly sees the ambulance, and he notices that there is no one around, but he ignores it to go and look for Xintong. Then Liu Feng enters the hospital and he sees that there is blood everywhere. Then he begins to call out to Xintong, and he suddenly sees a man laying on the floor and looking for his dog, and Liu Feng immediately recognizes him as the dog lover who used to give him takeout orders and a note for him to buy dog food. As Liu Feng helps the man up, he suddenly sees that the man is not normal, and he has blood on his face, and he is also carrying the dog with him, and they both look like zombies. Then Liu Feng immediately moves back from the man, but he suddenly falls and sees Dr. Lai, the doctor in charge of his sister. But he sees that she is already affected too, and as he tries to escape from the two people, Liu Feng sees that there are more people coming towards him, and they all look strange. Then he enters a room and he finds out that it is the surveillance room. Then he proceeds to check where his sister is, and he sees her in the second basement level. But he also notices that she has a red vein on her neck, just like the remaining people. As Liu Feng sees his sister on the monitor, he immediately remembers how she had told him that she wants to die because she is causing him to borrow money to pay for the chip she is using to live, as she has black blood disease, which gives her a red vein on her neck. But he had vowed to do all he can do to make his sister live by all means. Then he calls on the system to help him, as he can not longer hold down the infected people from coming inside the surveillance room. As he takes his phone, the system shows him his options to stay in the surveillance room and die after 2 days due to starvation, or he should go and save his sister in the basement. Then he asks the system to give him a route that he would take to the basement. Then Liu Feng blocks the door to hold down the infected people, and he sits down and makes a weapon using a knife and a stick with a firework. Then he joins it together, but he sees that Dr. Lai has already got inside the room with him, and he immediately uses the weapon to kill her. He uses his new weapon to kill all the infected people, and he begins to feel bad, but he immediately consoles himself that they are no longer considered to be humans again. When he gets to the place the map had told him, he sees that it is the laundry room, but the system tells him that there is a vent leading to the basement. Then Liu Feng climbs the vent with a horrible smell, but as he climbs into the vent, the iron on his shoulder, which he uses like an amour, begins to remove due to the small size of the vent. After successfully climbing through the vent, Liu Feng jumps down and he meets himself in the basement of the hospital, but he sees his sister, Sintong as she is being taken away by some people in uniform. Some officials from the government army Death Special Operations Squad comes in to take Sintong, and they uses their strong gadgets to hold her down. But one of the officials begins to contact their headquarters that they have captured the mutant species, but they are unable to communicate with their headquarters. Then the two officials begins to discuss that they did not think that the legendary mutant species would be a girl, and that she did not resist when they wanted to capture her. The leader of the special squad comes in, and she tells them to be vigilant, and continue to try to communicate with the headquarters. Then Liu Feng suddenly shouts as he calls Sintong, but he is dragged by someone. Then the lieutenant tells the men to go and check the place as it might be an infected person, and Sintong immediately frees herself, and as the men fired at her, she escapes into the ventilation duct. But the sound of the gunshots made the other infected people known as the mourners come to attack the officials. Liu Feng begins to wonder who had grabbed him, and he sees that it is security guard Zhang, and he begins to laugh at Liu Feng for being so scared when he grabbed him. Then Liu Feng asks Zhang what is happening, and he tells him that the news says that they are at war with the Providence Union, and as a result of that, someone detonated a virus bomb, which makes the people wearing the chip behave like zombies. Zhang also adds that Sintong's case is special as he took her to the basement after seeing that she is not behaving like the rest, and Liu Feng tells Zhang that they should go and rescue his sister, but Zhang tells him that he has been bitten and he would soon be one of them, but he would help him to hold the door so that he can escape to find his sister, as he has seen how he takes care of his sister. Liu Feng thanks Zhang, and he immediately runs to save his sister. Then he asks the system to help him, but the system gives him an option of either escaping through the hospital emergency room, or he should go to the laboratory to get serum to save his sister. And as Liu Feng is trying to go for the serum, the system tells him that he has low combat skills, and he should abort the mission, but he tells the system that it should not underestimate him. Liu Feng fights with the zombies, and as he uses his weapon to a point, the weapon stops working, and after killing 32 zombies, he gets to the lab and he sees the serum, but as he is about to grab it, Sintong tries to attack him, but he catches her, and when she hears his voice, she becomes calm. Sintong begins to act strange, and the system tells Liu Feng that he should use the serum on her, and as he injects the serum, she becomes calm, and the laboratory security begins to count down as the serum was stolen. Then the security system announces that it would blow up in 10 minutes. Then the system gives Liu two options, that it is either he leaves his sister and escape from the laundry entrance to the first floor, or they should escape through the underground research facility. And Liu tells the system to give him the map, as he is choosing the second option. Liu carries Sintong on his arms, and as they are about to leave the laboratory, the security system tells them that it has 9 minutes before it explodes, and they also see the lieutenant that almost took Sintong away, and the system tells Liu that she is also a mutant, but Liu ignores the system, and he immediately tells the lieutenant that they should stop fighting so that they would escape together. But the lady immediately becomes aggressive, and she opens her mouth to reveal some kind of things in it. Then Sintong immediately steps in, and she uses her powers as a mutant to push the lieutenant to the laboratory. Then Liu carries Sintong, and they find their way to the laundry room, but when they get there, Liu uses the power of the system to break them into the underground research facility to protect them from being injured by the impact of the explosion. After the explosion, Liu Feng asks the system if he is dead, but the system tells him that the utility room has been modified into a refuge to resist the explosion. But Liu asks the system why the refuge feels shabby, and the system tells him that he is an unworried refuge and has been given a refuge by the system, but the system refuge is at level 1, and he has to expand it by upgrading it. Liu Feng sees that Sintong is sleeping, and he decides that he would start upgrading the refuge. Then he begins with the computer, and he tells the system that the signal of the computer is bad, but the modified compilation can optimize the network. And he also asks the system about the status of his sister's health, and the system explains to him that the serum has temporarily delayed the mixed mutation of the black blood disease and the chip genetic virus. But once the mutation is complete, they become stronger and scarier than ordinary zombies. After listening to the system's explanations, Liu immediately decides that he would not watch his sister grow into a monster, as he would do all in his might to make sure she is well again. And the system tells him that the refuge is at his service, and the only way to completely cure his sister is to unlock the well and build a vaccine research center by upgrading the refuge to level 5. Liu then asks the system that he wants to see the blueprints of the refuge, but the system tells him that it is not possible. Then the system shows him the list of things that are damaged in the refuge, and he has to repair them with his points. And Liu checks the list of things, but he sees that the ventilation duct of the refuge is damaged as a result of the explosion. Liu fixes the ventilation duct, and he tells himself that the system mission can be completed by modifying something that can be repaired, and he immediately modifies the toilet paper and lubricant. But while holding the lubricant, he asks the system why his sister have forgotten a lot of things. Then the system tells him that according to the test, some of her intelligence and memories has declined to the level of 7 years old, and she only remembers that he is her brother. And Liu tells himself that he would look for ways to make her the girl she was before, and he squeezes the lubricant on his hand. Sintong wakes up and she sees the lubricant on her brother's hand. Then she misunderstands him and calls him a pervert, but he tries to explain to her that it is not what she is thinking. The next day, the headquarters notices that Lieutenant Lai and her team's signal has disappeared from the hospital, but the signal of their target is still active, so they prepare to send in a new squad in order to look for their target. Liu Feng begins to think that his reputation is already spoiled because of what his sister thinks of him, but as he looks at her, he sees that she is already asleep. Then as he covers her, the system tells him congratulations, as they have survived the first day and they get a newbie lottery, and as he spins the lottery wheel, he lands on a vaccine and he asks the system if the vaccine can cure the zombies if he produces it in batches. He would be able to save the world from the apocalypse, but the system tells him that the vaccine is to suppress the chip virus and strengthen the body's resistance to the implant, but it does not cure the zombies to become humans. Then Liu injects the vaccine into himself as his life is also in danger. He also asks the system if the generator of the research institute be repaired to become the source of power for the refuge, and the system tells him that it can serve as the power source for the refuge. But the power generation room energy core was destroyed, but the hospital research department on the 6th floor of the dean's room has a backup energy core. Then the system tells him that his mission is to get the energy core, and he would be rewarded with 900 points, and Liu sees it as an opportunity to save points in order to buy more blueprints. Liu suddenly realizes that as the director he should be able to get ladies to follow him, but he immediately tells himself out loud that he has to put his mind to proper business to save humanity and become a good director. But he tells himself that the first thing he should solve is the food problem, as it is important for them. Unknown to Liu, Sintong has been awake, and she has been listening to everything he is saying, that she calls him a pervert again, but he tries to explain to her, but she does not listen to him. In the afternoon, Liu decides to get the energy core, and as he is about to leave, Sintong tells him that he should not leave her alone, and he decides that they should go together, as he could not resist her, so that they can face the reality, as the only people they can rely on is themselves. When they get outside, they see the apocalypse, and as they get to a place, Liu sees security guard Zhang as he is infected by the virus. Then Liu thanks him for saving his life, and he tells himself that he would save Uncle Zhang as he brings out his handmade weapon. Meanwhile, the squad captain Lin Xin brings in her team, and they begin to fight the zombies, and Lin Xin uses her special skills to fight the zombies as her team watches her eye amusement. 5 minutes later, the team members begin to wonder how great Lai Xin is, and they notice that her shortcoming is the fact that her eyesight is a little bit bad. Liu Feng uses his renewed handmade weapon to fight Uncle Zhang as he swears that he would save his sister. Then he uses the Kung Fu Master chip he got from the system, which allows him to improve his proficiency in various weapons. But he tells Sintong that it is not suitable for them to stay in a place for long, as their goal is to get the energy core on the 16th floor of the scientific research department. Meanwhile, on the 7th floor corridor, a man and a woman are running, and the man tells the woman that they should be fast so that they would reach the stairs, and the woman thanks him. Then he tells her that he does not believe that she would confess his love to him, and after they escape, they would run to his hometown to get married. But one zombie suddenly bites the man, and he tells the woman to escape, but she does not listen, and another zombie also bites her. The people hiding there becomes disappointed, as the two lovers were gullible and a man who is a president of a company. President Lai begins to tell the other people that he is having such an unlucky day. Then all of them decides on who to help them clear the corridor, and they select the younger brother of Zhao Jia. And as she protests, Sarah stands up and tells them that it is not possible to send the young boy, but President Lai discards her opinion, and he immediately pushes the boy out on the corridor, and one zombie sees the boy. But as the zombie tries to capture the boy, Liu Feng and Sintong comes, and Liu calls the attention of the zombie to himself. As Liu Feng talks, Zhou begins to wonder if her prayer got answered as she sees Liu Feng, and he begins to defeat all the zombies. Then she begins to wonder how strong he is and how fast he is in defeating the zombies. A woman suddenly calls on President Lai that he should look at the people they sent as trap. But as the woman checks too, she becomes shocked as she sees that a man is killing the zombies, but Xiao Wang begins to run away as he tries to escape. And when he reaches a place, he sees a lady that tells him to come, and as he moves closer to her, she immediately reveals her mutant and devours him. Liu Feng goes to meet the people and he introduces himself as he tells them that he is nervous. At that moment, a woman asks him if the government has come to save them, and Liu asks a lady where the stairs leading to the 16th floor is. Then President Lai begins to yell at Liu, and he tries to blame Liu Feng, but Liu begins to talk to Zhaojia, as she begins to thank him for saving her and her brother, and Liu tells her that he also has a younger sister. Then President Lai tries to hit Liu, but Liu immediately punches him. Suddenly, President Lai sees his assistant, Xiao Wang, and he begins to tell him that he should come and deal with Liu, but unknown to him that Xiao Wang is infected. Xiao Wang immediately bites President Lai, and Liu tells the rest of the people that they should move out of the way, but Xiao Wang uses his mutant tongue to hit Liu Feng. Liu Feng falls down, and he immediately brings out his weapon, but as he tries to sway the weapon, he sees that the weapon is stuck, and when he checks, he sees another female zombie holding his weapon, and he uses his weapon to kill her, but more zombies keep coming. Then Xintong steps in to help her brother as she holds down the tongue of the zombies, but Lai Xin comes in through the window, and she uses her guns to shoot the zombies in the head. Lai Xin fights as the others watch her, and after defeating the zombies, she tells Liu that Xintong that is staying behind him is their goal, as they have been looking for her for a long time. Then her team comes in and President Lai begins to tell them that he has been bitten, and when they scan him, they realize that he is already infected. Suddenly, more zombies begin to come in, and Liu sees it as a form of distraction, and he immediately tells Sarah that she should lead them to the 16th floor, but Lai Xin yells at them not to run away. The zombies then face Lai Xin, and as she looks at them, she begins to wonder if they are just mutant zombies, like the research institute had said. Meanwhile, Sarah begins to take them, and she tells them that the government troop only rescues important people, but Xintong tells Liu Feng that she is sorry for being tired. Then Zhaojia thanks Liu again for saving Zhaohua, her brother, and Liu immediately notices that Zhaohua has been bitten, and the system tells him that he is infected. As Liu looks up, he suddenly notices that there is another mutant on the ceiling looking at them, and he becomes surprised as the mutant holds onto the ceiling like a spider. Liu notices that the zombie tries to hit Sarah, and he immediately pulls her away from the way, but she begins to wonder if he likes her. Then he tells her that she should go and meet Xintong, where she is standing. Then Liu fights with two more mutants, but as he fights them, another mutant tries to attack Sarah and Xintong, and Sarah begins to think of how she would save herself and Xintong, but Lai Xin saves them again. But as she fights them, Zhaojia yells that the zombies from downstairs are coming to meet them. Liu Feng immediately sees a door, and he tells them that they should go through the door, but as they run, Liu asks Lai Xin where the remaining members of her team are, and she tells him that they are all infected, and she escaped with her cloak of invincibility. Liu begins to wonder how strange that the system told him that only one mutant zombie would appear in 100,000 people, but there are 5 of them. Then Liu suddenly sees that one of the mutant zombies has attacked Zhaohua. But as Zhaojia tries to go and rescue her brother, Liu holds her and tells her not to go, but she immediately asks him what he would do if it were to be his sister that was taken away. On hearing that, Liu releases her and she gets bitten along with her brother. Then Lai Xin shoots at the mutant zombies, as she tells Liu that he should not be sad because she has already found a way. Liu immediately uses his weapon to create flames, and he shows Lai Xin that it is the mutant on the ceiling that is controlling the other zombies. Then Lai Xin begins to shoot at it, but another zombie tries to attack Sarah and Xintong. Then Xintong immediately jumps to go and defeat the zombie. Xintong kills the zombie. Then the system tells Liu that he would be rewarded with 100 points if he kills a mutant zombie for the first time, and he kills the mutant zombie. Then he thanks Lai Xin for her help. Lai Xin tells Liu that Xintong's strength is not as ordinary as that of other humans, and she suddenly points the gun at Liu and Xintong. Then she tells him that she has received orders to take Xintong, but Liu tells her that she should not shoot as she is pointing the gun to Sarah instead of Xintong. Then she tells herself that her eyesight illness is worrying her again. Liu Feng immediately uses his kung fu chip to grab Lai Xin from the back, and he asks her why she is after his sister, but she tells him that a soldier only knows how to obey orders. Then she turns Liu over in order to get loose, but she ends up falling on the floor, laying on Liu's chest. But Lai Xin suddenly kisses Liu, and Sarah immediately yells at them to stop, as she might know why the government is after Xintong. Soon Sarah takes them to the dean's chambers, and she tells them as she accesses the computer that she is the secretary of the dean, so she have heard of a research project codenamed as the Godson, and as she sees the details of the project. She tells them that the Minister of Health, Zhentang Shang, ordered the hospital to conduct a study to inject a virus and serum into patients with the black blood disease in order to create mutants, but hundreds who participated in the experiment had failed, but it is Sintong's turn to do it. Then Xin also tells them that it is the same man that ordered their operation to capture Xintong. Sarah also adds that the survival rate of the experiment is less than 1%, and she thinks that Xintong is a special mutant, and Liu suddenly remembers how Xintong had behaved earlier as she took out something from a dead zombie to eat it. But he immediately asks Sarah if she knows the code to the dean's safe, and she tells him then he takes out the energy core. The system immediately rewards him with 900 points, and he immediately tells Sarah and Xin that he has a refuge that they can all stay so that they would be able to survive the apocalypse. But as Sarah eagerly tells Liu that she would join them, Xin tells Liu that she rejects it as she is not interested. Xin tells Liu that she has investigated the matter, and if it is true, she would apologize to him. But it does not mean that she wants to join him, as she can survive the end of the world with her own abilities. Liu Feng immediately begins to look for a way that he would use to convince Xin. Then he tells her that he has various reasons to convince her to join them, and she tells him that if he is not able to give her a reason, she would shoot him, and Liu Feng begins to think of what he would do, and he immediately uses alloy ingots to make an identity card, and he shows Xin that he is a special investigator of the government, and he is in charge of the Tinder project, which is responsible for building in the end times to establish a refuge. But Xin tells him that it is a lie, and as she scans the identity card, that she cannot confirm if his identity card is real or not. Liu then yells at Xin that it is the end of the world, and she is still thinking about living alone and as a soldier. She is supposed to stand up to save humans and settle the troubled world, and with such evasive attitude he does not think she is worthy of being a soldier. Liu Feng begins to think that he has said too much, but Xin grabs him, and she tells him that she should do something for the humans as a soldier, and he dares to invite her to be his teammate. But she also adds that after he had dared to kiss her as well, she hopes he would be able to last longer. Liu then asks the system for the profile for his two new teammates, and Sarah takes them to the cafeteria on the 16th floor as she tells Liu that she has to make a contribution, since she is already a member of the refuge, and when they get there, they see a lot of things they can take into the refuge. As Liu continues to check the system, he sees Xintong drinking milk, and he tells himself that she still has some characteristics of her old self. Then he continues to check the system, and he asks the system if the system can be changed into a cafeteria without food, but he is interrupted by Sarah, who tells him that she has found the steel bars and some plastic tarpaulin materials he had requested for, and she also tells him that she understands that he wants to make a greenhouse. Xin also comes, and she tells them that as she heard that they were making a greenhouse, she has looked for vegetable seeds, and as she drops the bags of seeds, Liu Feng tells her that she is worthy of being his teammate. Liu Feng shows the ladies his refuge, and when they see the entrance, Xin asks him if it is a dungeon, and Liu explains that the main entrance has been blocked by stones, but when they enter the refuge, they see that it has more spaces in it. Then Liu shows them around as he tells them where the restroom and other places are located in the refuge. Liu also takes them to where the generator is, and he has to change the energy core, but it is covered with huge stones due to the explosion, and Xin immediately puts a device on it, and as she presses a button, the stones explode and it clears the way. Liu thanks her, and as he changed the energy core, the generation of power increases. Then Xin and Sarah goes to take their bath with hot water, and Sarah begins to admire Xin's chest as she tells her that it is big, but Xin tells her that his chest is big as well. Then Xin tells Sarah that they have to be fast as Liu would be waiting for them in order to start their meeting. Meanwhile, the system tells him that it would take 6 days and 5 hours for the refuge to upgrade, and also it tells him that he has unlocked new blueprints, and suddenly, Xin and Sarah comes out as they are wearing the uniforms they saw in the bathroom, and Xin accuses Liu for making the uniforms erotic, and he tries to explain that it is the system that made it like that. Soon they start the meeting, and Liu tells Sarah to explain what they have, and she lists them, but she says that they need to get more food and energy sources. Then Xin tells them that they would search for food and energy in several kilometers, and Liu begins to get happy as he thinks about the cleverness of his teammates. Liu stands up, and he takes them to the pumping room, where he intends to build the greenhouse. Then he calls out on the system that it should start building. Then the system starts building after Liu confirms that the system should take out 100 points to get solutions. And in seeing this, Sin and Sarah become surprised as the system starts to build the greenhouse. Meanwhile, a lady takes a zombie, and she shows him a picture as she asks if he has seen the woman in the picture. The woman begins to talk to President Lai, who is already getting mutated, but he tells her that he has not seen the woman in the photo, and he also tells her that she should save him as he has money, and would give her anything. But the lady gets angry, and she collects a baton from one of the men that followed her. Then she begins to use it to hit President Lai, as she yells at him that he is a greedy rich man, and like others, he does not care about what the poor people at the bottom feels like. And they introduced a chip, and eventually a virus broke out, and they that were not able to buy the chip are called the Iron Dogs. But one of the men tells her that the minister had given the woman that they are looking for huge supplies. Later that night, as Liu sleeps in the room, he becomes restless as he has never slept amongst ladies like that. Then as he tries to distract himself with the system, he suddenly notices that someone comes to sleep by his side, and when he checks, he sees that it is Sarah. But he notices that she is asleep, and he realizes that she is sleepwalking. The following day, he tells himself that he would not let them know what had happened the previous night, and he wants to try a new transformation enchanting ability. And as he tries it, he gets the new Kung Fu gloves. But as he tries the gloves, he receives a call for a food delivery, and when he picks it, Kai Li immediately tells him that he should come to where she is because she needs his help urgently. Liu Feng decides to take only Like Sin on his mission to go and save Kai Li, as Hinton has been in a critical state for about a day after she has eaten the essence of mutant. Like Sin then tells Liu that Kai Li is the president of the Lishan group, and she was engaged to Zheng Tangxiang, and she suggests that they can dig out more news about Zheng Tangxiang from her. And Sarah also adds that Kai Li is in a large shopping mall close to them, and while they rescue her, they can also get the substance that they would use to cure Xintong. Like Sin immediately gets excited as she wants to go and kill the zombies, but Liu calls her back and tells her that she would attract the attention of the zombies. Then Liu gives Sin a bullet that he had modified for her, and after, Liu begins to think, but Sin asks him if he is looking at her legs, but he tells her that he is thinking of how they would get out of there, and he points at a car. Then he tells Sin that they could use the car to get on the road. Sin tells him that if they break the window of the car, it may also attract the zombies, and Liu tells her that he has a way. But as they check the car, they see a zombie in it, and Liu uses his special gloves, and he kills the zombie. Then they take the zombie out and take the car. Like Sin drives the car so rough, and Liu begs her to make the car steady, and he also tells her that he has noticed that her mood has changed. Then she tells him that when she was in the special group with the government, she had faced many dark issues, but ever since she joined Liu, her mood has been okay, and she has been happy. Suddenly, while they are on the road, Liu Feng sees President La as a mutant zombie, and he immediately realizes that the zombies are already evolving. Meanwhile, Kai Li stays in a place as she hides from the zombies, but as she notices that she cannot hold them down again because she cannot block the windows and doors, then she suddenly hears someone calling her name. Kai Li sees some men coming towards her, and when they save her, she tells them that she has been expecting to see someone, as she knew they would be someone there. But after explaining how she got to the mall, the men decides to take her to their team, and when she gets there, she sees that there are different kind of people there, and one man who had escaped from prison comes to meet Kai Li, and he tells her that he would give her a can of food if she spends the night with him. But she immediately slaps him, and the police officer there threatens the other man, and he leaves Kai Li alone. Then Kai Li begins to tell herself that she need to leave the place because it is not safe for her. At another place closer to the mall, a man and some other men begin to run for their lives as they are being pursued by zombies. Then Liu Feng and Like Sin steps in to save the men. Liu and Sin begins to fight the zombies, and they are able to save two of the men, and when they reach a place, they decide to rest there for the night as they would continue after Liu built his new weapon. Then the man introduces himself as Ob, and he is an electrician, but he thanks them for saving himself and his friend. Liu then asks Ob if he would join their shelter, but the man agrees after Liu had offered him food. Then Like Sin also adds that they would all be living together, as Liu says he is a single dog. Liu stands up and he decides to make his weapon before dawn, and he sees that there are a lot of props that he can use to make a new kind of weapon. But his eyes catch a giant chainsaw, and he tells himself that he would make the kind of weapon he is thinking about. The following day, Like Sin calls their attention to the multitude of zombies outside where they are, and she tells them that they have to look for what to do because they are carrying an injured person, which would make them slow, but a car comes and it attracted the zombies. Then they decided to go, but as they are about to leave, they are stopped by some men who tries to capture them, but Sin immediately uses her gun and shoots them, but Ab is surprised as guns are banned from the country. The leader of the gang comes and she introduces herself as Virus, and she shows Sin Kai Lee's picture, as she asks if she has seen her, but Sin tells her that she has not seen her, but Sin begins to wonder where Liu is so that he would come and see the lady looking for Kai Lai, and soon Liu comes and he tells Sin to step aside. Kai Lai sits, and as she sips her drink, some men come to meet her and they ask her if she is bored and also why she is sitting alone so they can keep her company. Kai Li immediately pours her drink on one of the men, and Officer Liu comes in to arrest the men as he tells them that he had been looking for how he would catch them red-handedly. Liu begins to fight with Virus in her group, but she begins to ask Liu who he is as he is using a mask to hide his identity. Then he fights with Virus, but he is not able to pin her, and he immediately uses his moves and he is able to pin her by turning her face to the front, but Liu removes his mask and she notices how handsome he is. Then she begins to feel addicted to the way he is strangling her, as it is making her feel good. Suddenly, a monster mutant zombie appears and the system tells Liu that it is the mutant power corpse, and it is highly dangerous. Then Liu immediately drops Virus, and he rescues Ob and the other man from the members of Virus's group, and they leave, but one of the member of the group asks Virus on what they should do, and she tells him that they would avoid the zombie first, and they would head towards the mall to capture Kai Lai, as Zhang Tangxiang had paid them a huge ransom for them to capture her. Liu thanks Kai Li for helping him out with the prisoners, but Yai begins to get angry as she thinks Kai Lai is there to take control, but Kai Li ignores her. Then Nettie walks away, and one of the men in the temporary prison tells Yai that he knows that she also hates Kai Lai, and he tells her that she should join them, and they would plan to take her down. Kai Li goes to meet Liu, and he tells him that she does not think Hua's pregnancy is a baby, as it only grew for 3 days and soon Hua goes into labor. Then Kai Li continues to tell Liu that there might be a parasite in her stomach. Suddenly, while Hua is giving birth, she immediately removes tentacles from her stomach, and she becomes infected. Then she begins to attack the old grandmother, but as Liu shoots at her, she does not get affected. One of the gangsters also stabs a man, and suddenly Liu and Kai Lai sees Yai with a gun, and she tells Liu to move away as she wants to shoot Kai Lai, but Liu suddenly realizes that Yai has collides with a murderer and some men comes to hold him and Kai Lai, but Kai Li begins to yell out to Liu Feng. 2 brothers out of the men begins to tear Kai Li's clothes as they tell C that they would rape her and kill her, but Yeti tries to collect the gun from one of the men and the gun bullet goes off, hitting Liu. As Yi tries to run to go and check Liu, she is held down by another man. Then the 2 brothers tears Kai Li's clothes completely, and she begins to tell herself as she has given up that her life would end, and she has counted on Liu Feng to help her. Then someone suddenly brings a chainsaw in, and he uses it to kill Hua, who is already a mutant zombie. As Liu enters, he goes to save Kai Lai, and he kills one of the 2 brothers as they tell him that he should not be a dog to the rich. Then the mutant power corpse suddenly captures the second brother. On seeing the mutant power corpse, Liu begins to tell Kai Lai that they had seen it before they entered the mall, but he had no choice than to lead it away. The mutant power corpse begins to kill the 2 brothers and their team, including Yai. But as Liu faces the mutant power corpse, a car comes in and hits the mutant. Then Liu sees that it is Virus and her gang. One of the members of Virus's gang tells her that Kai Lai is the woman they are looking for, and as Kai Li asks them if they know her, Virus tells Kai Lai that her finance Zhang Tangxiang had sent them to come and rescue her. Then Liu Feng immediately begins to think that if he allows Kai Lai to leave, he would not be able to complete his mission, but as he tries to convince Kai Lai, his mask is still on his face, and he mistakenly holds her chest. Liu apologizes to Kai Li for touching her chest, but she tells him that it is okay. Then he talks to Kai Lai about how bad her fiancé is, and how he tried to use his sister as a bad experiment, but Virus asks Kai Lai who she could believe, but after giving it a lot of thinking, Kai Lai announces that she would believe Liu Feng because he had come all the way to rescue her, and she would only believe Tang Xiong whenever she sees him. Suddenly the mutant power corpse stands up, and as Liu sees that the tentacles that he has cut off growing back into a sword, he grabs Kai Lai, and he calls Lai Xin to know if she has cleared the zombies outside. Lai Xin tells him that he should be fast and come and meet her in the 2nd floor. Then he takes Kai Li, and when they see how much the zombies are, Liu Feng thinks of giving up, but as he remembers his sister's health, he immediately puts Kai Lai into a cart and he tells her that they would pass through the zombies. At a secret underground base, the officials reports to their head that the mission is complete, and the commander takes the news to the meeting, and one of the men seated asks why they have wasted ammunitions to take down the research equipment, but the commander tells the man that he should ask the boss, Zheng Tangxiang. Liu Feng puts his chainsaw at the end of the cart, and he tells Kai Lai that he is not sure of the method he is using as they can get killed, but Kai Lai tries to encourage him as she sees how he is trembling, then she kisses him on the forehead, and tells him that if they die, they would go to hell together, but if they do not die, she would definitely owe him for saving her life. Liu wears his mask, and he begins to push the cart, but as they are about to reach the end of the passage, the cart wheel gets jammed as a result of the dead bodies on the floor, so they become stuck in the middle of the zombies and Liu begins to wonder if they are going to die. As Liu stands in the middle of the zombies, he gets scratched, and he is not infected because of the vaccine he had taken. Then he sees an electric light, and he uses his magnetic gloves to drop the iron light stand on the zombies and he escapes, but he immediately closes the zombies down in the building. On getting outside, Kai Lai stands up from the cart, and Liu tells her that they should go and meet their fellow teammates, and he charges the glove before the go, but on getting to where Xin is, Xin and Kai Li immediately faces each other and Liu separates them, as they are both not simple. Then Xin notices the scratch on Liu's back, but he tells her that he has taken the vaccine. Then as they continue to talk, Xin notices the lipstick on Liu's forehead, then she begins to question him about it. Ob communicates to them that he has repaired the car they would use to escape, and as they are about to leave, they suddenly hear people's voices running. Then Liu tells them that they should be going as he wants to save the people, and he runs to save the people as he uses his chainsaw to protect the people from being stabbed by the mutant power corpse. Liu Feng decides to help the people against the zombies so that they can get the door open. He sees that the door wires are entangled and the zombies are heading toward the part-time worker. He immediately uses his chainsaw to cut the zombie into two and inform him to quickly carry out their plan. He tries to go on with the plan by tapping the two wires, and Liu Feng notices that it immediately blows up. Xin tries to cover them and inform them to move fast as the zombies are closing in on them, as she will not be able to hold them off for long. She keeps on attacking the zombies and notices that the bullets are hardly working, and Feng notices the zombie coming towards him and begins to wonder why it does not work. Liu Feng notices that the zombie has evolved again after he cut off its hands. He tells Xin that bullets are of no use, and Ji will hand her the burst magazine. He also notices that the magnetic gloves in his hands are not assembled, and sees the monster coming towards him, and plans to stab him in his eyes. Suddenly, Xin's big sister comes in and grabs the zombie, preventing it from harming Liu Feng. She tells them that the zombie has also killed many of her brothers. She hands Xin the burst bullets and tells her to try it on the monster. Xin fires the bullets on the monster and notices that they were very effective and penetrate through the body of the zombie, but due to the power of the bullet, it also dislocated her shoulder. Feng immediately summons his weapon and goes to finish off the zombie, seeing that Xin did a good job. Feng kills the zombie and completes his mission. Feng kills the zombie and sees that he has successfully obtained the essence of the zombie. He picks it up and tells them to take it back to Sister, and they begin to wonder if he is okay, seeing that he is acting weird. The other men also asked about Luo, Yodi, and Seoli, but they were informed that they have been killed by Zhang San and the others. Sin's sister then tells him that she will let him go since he killed the monster that killed many of her brothers. Sin immediately threatens her sister not to make any trouble. She tells her that her life is hers and immediately leaves. Feng waves her goodbye and begins to think about all the things the system helped him with. He immediately turns to Kelly and tells her to join his refuge, seeing it is the terms she made with him before. She thinks about it for a while and decides to join before figuring out Zheng's problem. They all begin to wonder where they will go, seeing most of their members were killed, and Feng immediately invites them to join his refuge since he is the leader of the Tinder Project. They begin to doubt him and begin to question him about the Tinder Project. Xin immediately calls them to order and assures them that the refuge is real, as she is the captain of the Special Operations team. Feng immediately tells them to spread out and look for materials, and Kelly informs him to come with her. They begin to discuss, and Kelly sees a monster and jumps on Feng's body. Xin begins to pass by and hears a noise coming from the room and goes to have a look. She suddenly sees Kelly on top of Feng, and she becomes surprised. Feng becomes surprised at what happened, and Sin notices how bold he is. Kelly asks him if he is okay, and he tells her that the chainsaw is out of power to fight the zombie, and he immediately uses an electric staff to stop the zombie and notices that the synthesis is successful. Kelly sees that the ability is amazing as Feng did have 2 sons. Sin continues to stay outside and peep at them, and this time she sees Feng on top of the president and begins to wonder if he is so good. Kelly immediately thanks Feng for saving her again and asks him if he stole the electricity from her car. Feng tells her that his house is nearby, and he would like to find a benefactor first. Feng puts on his horse head mask and moves outside and sees a dog with a zombie and begins to wonder what it is doing. Suddenly, the horse head was shot off from his head by a lady at the top of the building who begins to wonder if the horse head is another type of zombie. She immediately gets a call, and she is told to indicate if she found any mutant zombie. She is also ordered to bring the target back, and the blockers will be killed. Feng begins to run for his life and wonders where the sniper is. The system immediately helps him to identify where the sniper shooter is, and he continues to run to save his aunt that has always been good to him. The system immediately informs him that it is a task, and Feng becomes surprised and asks what happened over there with the sniper. He notices that he has taken the investigation task, and he suddenly sees a government soldier that attempts to kill him. The soldier tries to hit him with his club, but sees that Feng has grabbed it. Feng tells him that if it wasn't for him to increase his strength, he would not have been pushed away by the soldier. Feng immediately practices a trick on him and manages to shut down his armor by draining the energy from him. Feng immediately laughs at him and asks him what he is doing and why he wants to kill him. He also sees how good his gloves are and takes them. Feng sees that his gloves have upgraded to level 2, and he immediately tries the gloves ability. The sniper lady begins to check around the city and continues to give reports on what she sees to her headquarters. She suddenly sees the gloves coming towards her direction, and it successfully takes her down and returns back to Feng. Feng immediately hurries away as he has seen that the government army is involved, and he needs to hurry back as he senses something wrong. 10 minutes later, Feng sees the government army and sees that they have arrested his aunt Lai Han and her daughter Lai Yuxuan, and begins to wonder what to do seeing the benefactor of his childhood is being arrested by government officials. Lai Xin begins to take a popsicle due to the fact that she has been sweating, and she begins to wonder where Liu Feng went seeing that he did not take her or a teammate to his home. She sees a woman that looks like Kelly and begins to wonder if she is having an affair with Feng, and decides not to conclude until she asks him. Back at Feng's neighborhood, Feng's auntie begins to tell the military officials to let them go since they came to save them, and begins to wonder why they are in handcuffs. Her daughter tells her mom not to beg the military officials, who immediately gives her mom a blow on her face. The soldier then plans to take advantage of both of them seeing their husband is not there to comfort them. Feng immediately comes out of hiding and uses his bat to smash the soldiers on their face, and also uses the flying fist to take out the other soldier. Feng quickly picks up his auntie and begins to dodge the bullets of the military officials, and informs his aunt's daughter to run so as to evade the bullets. His system detects something wrong while he tries to evade the military personnel, and suddenly he is being shot by the sniper at the top of the building. Feng falls to the ground and she fires again, and this time hitting Feng's aunt. Feng sees her blood after she informs him that she has terminal illness, and she begs him to take care of her daughter. Feng becomes angry as he begins to see that he cannot protect his dear ones. He is suddenly surrounded by soldiers who all have come to arrest him. The sniper immediately gives her report to Zhang, telling him that the target was shot and has died. The soldiers point their gun towards him and tell him to raise his hands, and they notice a strange creature behind him, and they become afraid. Feng looks back and sees the mutant creature and immediately carries his aunt's daughter and evades the attack. Feng looks back and sees that the mutant is evolving, and it has been in his aunt's body all along. He plans to leave and sees that the zombies are also there and he cannot leave. Feng sees that his aunt is still alive and begins to ask the system if there is any way to save her. The system explains everything to him, and they both notice that the blood vessels coming from the mutant are not coming towards them. Instead, it is attacking the soldiers and zombies around them. Feng notices that his body cannot move and begins to wonder what kind of energy is emanating from the mutant. The system immediately divides the energy into 6 levels and tells him that it might just be the first natural disaster-grade mutant species. The mutant continues to suck the blood from the soldiers and the zombies, and Feng notices something coming out of the mutant. Feng sees that it is his aunt and notices that she is coming towards them. She stops at the front of them and walks past them after staring for a while. Feng sees that it is because of her daughter's bloodline that is the reason why the blood vessels did not attack them earlier. The sniper leader immediately calls Zheng and the Scarlet Queen immediately takes her out and continues to move away from Feng. Feng asks the system once again if his aunt can be saved, and it replies telling him that he has a chance of restoring humanity in her as he only needs to get a serum. A day later, the people return to the shelter in a van full of supplies, and they all become surprises at what they can see in Lu Feng's shelter. Sarah welcomes them into the refuge and begins to show them around the shelter. Feng continues to think about how his aunt left because he does not have a serum to save her like he did for his sister. Sarah continues to show them around the shelter and how things are run and managed, and they all become surprised seeing that everything is advanced. Sin tells Feng that it has been long that she came into the shelter as a lot has changed, and Feng tells her that he was not aware that there are any drawings attached to it. Later that day in the bathroom, Feng is having his bath and suddenly plans to leave and sees his sister together with Yuxuan and asks them what they are doing in the bathroom while he is bathing. She tells him that Sin regained consciousness after eating the mutant falcon and also remembered Yuxuan. Yuxuan also tells him that she will take a bath with him, and they get into the water with him. They begin to help him rub his back, and Feng begins to feel weird about it. Feng begins to look for a way to distract them, and immediately Yuxuan tells him that she would have died if not him and her mom turning into a monster is because of those soldiers and not his fault. He thanks her for comforting him and promises her to get her mother back. Feng finishes with his bath and goes to the command room. Feng sees how beautiful the command room looks and asks them if the system in front of him is the AI sanctuary. Sarah begins to explain the new features of the new command room and tell him that she made use of the government satellite to build part of their technology. She then asks him if he wants a democratic system or a dictatorship. Feng begins to think about an option that he will choose, and they all begin to advise him against choosing a democratic government, seeing that it will waste a lot of time and resources. Feng then agrees and decides to be the new leader and give positions to Kelly, Sin, and makes Sarah the Secretary General. He then tells them to work together to revive mankind. Feng continues with the discharge of duties and suddenly see two people at the entrance to their shelter. Feng tells Daiching to bring them in and proceeds to the door. One of the members sees Feng and Sarah and immediately thinks Sarah is the leader, and Sarah informs her that Feng is the leader of the shelter, and she immediately apologizes to him as she has looked down on him. Feng begins to test their ability to see how useful they will be in the development of the shelter and see a guy among them to be a spy. He immediately thinks to see who is willing to provoke him. The next day, Feng wakes up and sees Sintong on his bed and wonders if she slept with him throughout the night. Feng sees that it is habit she has gotten since when she was young and plans to wake her up before someone will actually see her. Sin suddenly comes in and sees him as a pervert, and he tells her that it is not what she is thinking. Sin ignores and still goes around to gossip about it to other girls in the shelter. Suddenly the soldiers come to give him a report about the armor, and he tells them that he is aware of it, and he does not need a gun. Suddenly he is called to the command center, as there is an urgent report. They tell him that the government has created a new facility and Zheng is there too, and Feng requests she gives him the location and the map to the place. She also tells him that she will also lead the second unit that will accompany him, and he becomes worried about preventing her from getting hurt. At the rector's office, Feng begins to tell himself that he has to level up so as to avoid the last situation he had with his loved ones and be strong to protect them. He immediately opens his system and begins to find a way to upgrade himself by exchanging 2 vaccines so as to level up and get a lot of information. He then tries it and successfully downloads a lot of information and achieves the cyber martial arts skill. The system tells him that it will give him a lot of fighting skills and the talent of scientists to be able to defeat his opponents. At the Edge City prison, Zuxuan and the remaining officers in the prison are escaping from the prisoners that are rioting, and Zuxuan tells them to keep running and go get the guns as they can only suppress the prisoners in that way. She tries to go into a place and sees that the police dogs have become mutants, and they begin to shoot at the dogs, but they are killed and bitten by the dogs. Lifang is also attacked by a mutant monster, and Zuxuan becomes scared. Suddenly, Sintong comes to rescue her with her brother and successfully rip the dogs apart and stop the mutant monster from harming the officer in charge of the prison, making Zuxuan see how amazing they are. Outside the prison, the high priest tells them that they must let the prisoners join their unified religion, as the lords will unite them all. Inside the prison, the prisoners plan on burning a member of the police to death, and suddenly one of the members of the prison is given a blow as she has the key to the armory in her hands, and he tells Longshuan to surrender to him if he really wants to be set free from the prison. About half an hour ago, Zuxuan sees that 3 of her officers were killed by something that was just destroyed by 2 people. Feng immediately notices that Xintong's hands were dirty and calls her to come wipe her hands. Xintong then tells him that she needs milk, and Feng asks her where it is that she needs milk. Xintong then points at Zuxuan and demands milk from her. Zuxuan begins to think about what she means and also thinks if she is a pervert. Feng goes to the officer and asks her if she is okay and if she will need any help. She immediately cuffs him and plans to arrest him, but later realizes that Xintong is his little sister. She apologizes to him and asks him what is going on outside the prison, as she has not been outside since the prisoners rioted. Feng tells her that everything fell apart and he came to the prison to find a gun. She decides to make a deal with him, seeing that she is with the key to where the guns are kept. She tells him to help her suppress the prisoners and rescue her fellow officers in the prison. Feng agrees to her offer and moves to help her with what she has asked for. They arrive at the 4th floor and decide to look through the window in the elevator, and they see the prisoners eating human flesh and sleeping with the female officers. They see some of the prisoners tearing off one of the female officers' uniforms and plan to have fun with her, and she continues to struggle and try to free herself from the prisoners. They tell her that if she resists, they will throw her into the boiling pot like her boyfriend. They begin to laugh at her, and one of the prisoners is suddenly shot by Feng in the neck. Feng gets angry on seeing what the prisoners are doing to the officer and goes to beat them up. One of the prisoners begins to beg him not to kill him, as he is just a butcher. Feng tells him that he is inhumane, and Shou Chen, who was molested by them, begs Feng to allow her to kill him. Shou Chen picks up his knife and begins to cut him into pieces. Zuxuan tries to stop her, but Feng tells her to allow her, knowing how pained she is. She then tells them that her boyfriend was killed in front of her and eaten. Then she immediately jumps into the boiling pot to follow her boyfriend. At the 8th floor, one of the prisoners goes to report to his boss that the second master has been killed. He gets angry and uses his claws to rip the prisoner into 2, calling him a waste. He notices that they are going after the gun and tells one of his prisoners to allow the zombies to come in. The prisoner reminds him that he is expecting a visitor, and she immediately comes in to see his boss. They continue to talk while Feng goes to bury the policewoman and makes his way to the gun depot. The boss continues to speak with his visitor, and one of the prisoners comes in and tells him that Purple Eagle is running away. The boss sees that he dug a hole to escape from prison, and the lady gives him something and tells him that he will gain invincible power by eating them. Feng begins to pick up all the guns in the armory he can carry, and Zuxuan tells him to take as much as he needs. She tells him that Shou Chen committed suicide and asks if they will die there. He tells her that he has also lost loved ones, as it is the end of the world. He tells her that his only wish is to protect his little sister and asks her to join him, as they will live together in the early days. She becomes surprised, as they have only just met, and she begins to compliment his sister, telling him that she is so strong. He thanks her and they begin to talk. Suddenly, Feng notices someone in the vent and pulls her out of the way to dodge the bullet. He immediately launches his attack to the vent, and Longshuan comes down from the vent and moves to attack him. Longshuan attacks him, and Feng activates his kung fu skills and begins to defend himself from Longshuan. He notices how impressive his skills are, and they both get to know themselves formally. They both catch up and notice they are from the same school, but Longshuan tells him to stay away since he is his junior and rejects his offer to join him. 10 minutes later, in the gun room, Feng uses the tech device to transfer all the guns and ammunition from the prison. The officer becomes worried as Feng has taken all the guns away from the armory, and she begins to wonder why he took it all. Feng tells her that he thought he could take as much as he wants. Suddenly, Xin arrives and asks him if he has found another lover the few days she left him. Feng sees another mutant zombie and sees that something is wrong. He also begins to wonder what might have happened to his brother after so many years. Long begins to wonder if his illusions are back, as he begins to wonder what has led him to a group of zombies to die. While trying to evade the zombies, he sees Xintam and wonders what she must be doing there. She begins to walk to the zombies, and Longshuan sees that if she goes to the zombies, she will surely die. The zombies begin to attack her, but Longshuan could not stand it and begins to hit the zombies with his gun. Longshuan begins to beat up the zombies in order to protect the girl and uses his weapons to ward off the zombies from infecting or killing him. Long shoots the zombies and tells her to leave as gunshots can easily attract the zombies. He tries to escape and sees that another group of zombies are coming out through the other direction and sees that it is not good. He becomes surrounded and begins to think that he has killed the young girl. He asks himself if it is his destiny and wonders if it is cool to die with his sins. Suddenly, Xintong uses her ability to attack the zombies and becomes surprised at what the little girl can do, and did not expect what he just witnessed, thinking she could not defend herself. Meanwhile, at the other side, Feng pushes the two ladies in order to protect them from the zombies' attack, and they fall on top of him. He apologizes to them as he did not intend for that to happen, and tells Sin that she should join him to attack the zombies. Sin begins to attack them, and suddenly one of the zombies jumps on him and Sin begins to hurry to go save him from the zombie. Sin rushes to save Feng, and he tells her that he feels she is a little too concerned about him. Sin clears the idea from his head, telling him that she was only trying to prevent her teammate from dying, which she sees as the right thing to do. Feng tells her not to worry about him and promises her that he will never die. Suddenly, they hear a voice from over the radio asking him if he was the one that broke into the arsenal, and tells him that he is very skilled. She tries to convince him to join her as she will forgive him for all the crimes he has committed. She also tells him that he can get the supreme power bestowed by her as the leader of the Iron Clan. Zixuan tells her to inform her clan that they have guns and they should surrender, otherwise they will kill all their clan members. Suddenly, a monster that has been killed comes back to life and tries to attack them. Feng demands for the gun, but Sin immediately destroys the monster and tells her if she plans to move her teammates, she will have to move her first. The monster tries to attack again, and Feng uses the gun to blow off the head of the monster. Feng notices that he could not kill the monster with the gun, and immediately Zixuan shoots her gun and tells them not to underestimate her. Feng tells her to put down her weapon as the monsters are no longer humans, but tells her that she shoots well. They immediately notice that the monsters are more than one that they cannot kill, and they immediately fall into the ground in which they are standing. Feng tells them to be careful, and as they land on the floor, Sin sees that she has landed on top of Feng, and she tells him that she did not expect that he would take the initiative to cushion under her. She tells him that his life is equals very hard, since he is a teammate of life and death. Sin asks him if he would like to do it with her there, and he becomes surprised at what she is talking about. And she notices that Zixuan has fainted and asks him how she feels about him, and Feng begins to ask her why she has chosen him, seeing that they are all alone in the third floor. She tells him that he has saved her several times, and he is the first man who is her teammate that has never died. Feng becomes surprised and she suddenly kisses him and begins to take off her clothes, telling him to leave everything to her. She begins with him, and Feng closes his eyes and begins to imagine that it feels like the Temple of the Golden Mountain, and he sees himself having a fierce battle with Sin in his imagination, while Sin continues to have him physically. She could not take it any longer and immediately surrendered to him. Meanwhile, the other group is still looking for them, and they inform their leader that they have fallen into a blind spot on the camera. She immediately tells them to arrange for more people to find them and take them to the arena. She also asks her servant what is the status of Daguerreau, and she tells him that it has been put in place and is on the 5th floor. Xintong and Longshuan come across a door that has completely been sealed, and Longshuan asks her where they are. Long wonders what are the vessels blocking the door, and Xintong immediately uses her powers to cut it open, and Long tells her to be careful as she does not even know where they are walking into. He immediately thinks and sees that he was actually rescued by her, and he begins to wonder what she is and begins to think if she is a mutant or a zombie. Suddenly, his head begins to hurt again, and he begins to see that he is having his illusions of a little girl, and begins to hear her asking if he feels guilty for killing her. Suddenly, he sees a mutant trying to come out from the hive, but Xintong uses her powers to behead the mutant and stop it from getting to him while he was carried away in his illusions. Longshuan sees that all the blood puppets on the walls are human, and suddenly his head begins to hurt again, and he sees that she is offering him a headphone. Long places the headset on his ears, and the pain suddenly disappears from his head. They continue to go deep into the building, and suddenly they see a mutant hive. 8 hours later, Zixuan wakes up and begins to think that Feng and she are up to something, and stands up to see that he is only helping her with her leg, and she might have fractured it during the fall. She also notices water on her face, and Feng and she immediately keeps quiet about it after Feng calls she to it. Feng brings dinner, and Zixuan tells them that she has not eaten canned food for long, and Shai tells her that a big meal after the battle is the best. Zixuan begins to eat fast and Feng tells her to slow down and not rush her food. Feng immediately notices that he has unlocked a new title called the Friends of Women and continues to think about his activities in the past with Shai. Feng begins to complain about his private part, and he tells Zixuan that it is nothing after she asks. They get to the 5th floor and they hear a voice talking to them and begin to wonder who it is. They see a lady who introduces herself as the High Priest, and she welcomes them to the arena. Feng looks around him and sees that there are so many mutant zombies and wonders if she is actually able to control them. She tells him to look, as those who join will have invincible power, and once again Feng begins to think and sees that something is wrong about the entire turn of events. She immediately releases the monsters on them and informs the monsters to kill them. Feng and the girls begin to battle for their lives, and Feng sees the need to use the weapon with him, and he brings it out and begin to cut through the monsters. Feng begins to pieces the monsters and cut off their hands and legs, making the High Priest see him to be too strong. She begins to pity him as he is going to die. 2 monsters then jump out to meet Feng, but he sees that they are 2 mutant grades, and he sees that he is also not the same as before, and immediately uses his electric powers to take out the mutant, making everyone see him to be awesome. He also uses his glove to take out the 2nd mutant, and the priest sees it to be amazing and brings out another backhand to take him on. Feng immediately sees a huge monster with eyes at its middle coming towards him, and he becomes surprised. Feng sees that the leader of the mutants is in elite level, and it regards to them as little things. The monster begins to attack them, and he begins to evacuate from the surrounding area so that he will not be killed by the monster. Feng uses his ability on the monster, but it is to no avail, and the High Priest starts to laugh at him and tell him that it is the power he bestows. Lin Xin immediately begins to attack the monster, and Feng calls her so that she will be careful. Shai tells him that she is going to use the bursting bullet to deal with a monster as huge as that. She begins to use the bullets on the mutant, and Feng goes to meet her, warning her to be careful in dealing with the monster. The High Priest sees it as a miracle and tells them that at the end of the world, they will be the only one and they will be transformed again. Feng and Shai continue to battle the monster, and Feng uses his powers to launch the gloves on the monster. The High Priest tells him that he is smart, as he discovers that he is the only one that can control the zombies, and tells him that it is the gift God bestowed on her. Feng notices that she has been controlling zombies to protect herself while they were fighting. She tells him that she is the Destiny, and tells the Iron Thongs to attack him. The monster begins to advance towards him, and thinks that his sister is fighting somewhere else to be safe, but he can only use the last trick if he is unlucky. Meanwhile, at the other side, his sister is facing a very dreadful mutant, and she is being trapped, and Longxuan sees that the illusion is being transmitted through a sound wave. Long tells her to be careful, and he uses his gun to shoot her down from the grasp of the mutant monster. She notices that she is free and suddenly becomes angry and goes to tear the monster to pieces. She successfully cut out parts of the monster, and more of the mutants began to troop out from the building and head towards them. They both start to fight of the mutants, and Long immediately sees something that has happened and immediately calls out her name. Meanwhile, 3 days ago at the refuge, Feng begins to test out the abilities of the bipolar gun and begins to use what he has learned to battle the monster that is troubling them. The High Priest immediately notices that he is struggling and tells him that no one can compete against the power of God. Feng immediately tries to attack the Iron Thong leader, and it hits him, sending him to the floor. The girls begin to ask if he is okay, and Feng tells them that it has been done, and they see that he has placed the weapon at the eye of the monster. The weapon suddenly explodes, killing the leader of the mutant. Feng then asks the priest if she is ready to accept sanctions. The priest tells them that it is impossible, and suddenly Shai and Zixuan immediately come up to her and tell her to put her hands up as she is under arrest. Feng tells her that he is going to kill her since she has chosen to be arrogant, and she tells them that she has another thing planned, and in a few minutes, mutant zombies will fill the entire building, and there will be a lot of zombies that will take them out. Suddenly, the body of the Virgin Mary was brought in by Feng's sister, and she realizes that all her plans has been destroyed, and they all see her walk into the floor. The High Priest sees her and acknowledges her as the Son of God. Sintong sees her brother and rushes towards him and hugs him. She tells her brother that she is so scared, and he calms her down and tells her that no one dares to bully her. Sintong then jumps on her and tells her to apologize for what she has done. The High Priest apologizes, and Feng immediately gets a call from Kelly. She tells him that there is a situation at the reserve as the mouse is hooked. Feng asks her if she was able to find the spy. Kelly tells him that she was able to find him and the organization that is helping him out. She gives him the information and tells him that she is actually waiting for him to get back so that they can begin planning towards it. He looks and sees that his junior sister is punishing the high priest, and he begins to take a look at her attributes. Feng sees that she is special, but he cannot take over her as he does not know her purpose. He sees that his sister is planning something and asks her what she thinks she is doing. She immediately gives Feng to absorb the essence of the filthy virgin, and he absorbs the mechanical arm, and he sees that the glove update is really interesting. Feng sees his senior again, and Lai Xin recognizes him immediately, and he asks her if Xintong is Feng's sister. Xin tells Feng about him, and Long begins to walk away. Feng tries to stop him, but Xin tells him to allow him go as he is very dangerous. Xing immediately remembers the reason why Long joined the army in a class with him back when they were in school. Feng tells him that he believes him and asks him to join his refuge. Long becomes shocked at his offer, and Feng begins to analyze his abilities from his rank. He agrees to join and tells them that he knows where the remaining police officers are kept. They follow him down to the same time shelter, and they discover a group of thugs from the metro shelter, and Long sends a warning shot to them. And Feng tells them that he has been waiting for them for a very long time and was thinking they would not show up. Feng begins to battle them and asks them to surrender. The leader of the clan tells them that her clan will not surrender. After a few fighting rounds, she finally agrees and surrenders, seeing that Feng is too tough for them to handle. They begin to ask them questions, and they see that the headquarters did not send the group, and they decide to let them be. Zixuan then tries to shoot the high priest, as she is responsible for the loss of some of her members. Feng tries to calm her down and begins to receive some analysis from a member of his refuge. The next day, they'd all head to the prison, and Feng did not expect that Kelly would want to follow him. She tells him that the base is up to date, and they will not be needing her. He also begins to think about his relationship with the girls in his sect, and they arrive at the prison garage and see some vehicles. Meanwhile, at the other side of the city, Chushin, the leader of the North Refugee Camp, is still fighting with some of the zombies while they try to safeguard some of the prisoners. They see that their weapons are no good, and the mutants have successfully broken through. One of the mutants begins to head toward him, and Feng immediately arrives and protects him from the mutant. The soldiers begin to inform their leader that the front line is broken, and he begins to wonder who Feng is, but Feng ignores him, promising to talk to him later, and goes to defend them from the monsters. Feng sees that his electromagnetic knife was modified, and he plans testing it out on the mutants. The soldiers become surprised at how he was able to destroy the mutants with a knife with the help of Long, and they appreciate him for his efforts. Feng immediately leaves on hearing that he is being called a hero, and as he leaves, he hears a noise. Feng turns and sees that it is his ex-girlfriend. He suddenly remembers a conversation between him and Kelly on how he has been rejecting women, and how she asked him if he has ever had a girlfriend. She begins to brag about her current boyfriend in front of him, calling him a waste, despite the fact that he is handsome. Suddenly, Kelly comes in and asks him a random question. They become surprised at who she is, and all she said is that she thanks her for dumping him so that she could have him. Feng is then held by his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend, and he plans on beating up Feng, but grabs his mouth and tells him to watch his tone. His ex begins to regret dropping him, and the leader of the refuge informs them that there are a bunch of zombies coming after them, and they must hurry and leave. If you like this recap, do let me know in the comments, and obviously leave your likes too. Do not forget to share with your friends and subscribe. Above all, activate your notification bell so you don't miss the next recap when it drops. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.